Hey you guys, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and add to the videos we've already done, and we are going to show you how to do a fiberglass long arm cast on a patient using materials, safety scissors, a couple rolls of cotton, some stockinette, and a few rolls of fiberglass. So we're going to go ahead and go right to the casting now. And so we're going to start with the stockinette. What we're going to do is we're kind of stretch it out a little bit so it goes on nice and easy. Like the previous videos, go ahead and slide your hand in. You don't have to move at all. You don't have to move at all. Like the previous videos we've done, we slide the stockinette on. The only difference is that on the long arm, the stockinette goes all the way past the elbow. And you want to go to at least mid bicep or 3 fingers under the axillary space, whichever you're more comfortable measuring. The idea here is that the cast, when you're done making the cast, the height should be at least half the length of the base. And that way, when he's walking around, the back of the cast isn't bothering him in the back of his tricep. So just like we did in the previous videos, we'll make a little hole for his thumb to stick out. You just cut it right at the base of the thumb. Thank you, sir. And then over here where you see the wrinkles, you want to get rid of those wrinkles so he doesn't get a blister under his cast. So you just get rid of those, and you just kind of stretch it out and get rid of all those wrinkles for him. And then of course we have the little piece here we're going to use for the thumb, which you've already seen me cut the corner off in prior videos. I cut the corner off, I stretch it over the fingers, and then I put a little cap on his thumb there. There you go, sir. And that is the beginning of the long arm stockinette. So the next thing we'll do, of course, is the cotton. I have the patient helping me because it's a little bit more of a comfort thing. We'll come around, and you've seen me do this before, shear away a little excess so we can get in between the thumb and the index finger. I'll do that again. Same thing, I'll shear away the bottom corner, and we'll go in between the thumb and the index finger. Thank you, sir. I know it feels funny, right? And you can keep holding if you want to hold. And then we're just going to wrap around with the cotton nice and comfortable. You've seen me do this with the 2 short arm videos prior to this. And then what we're going to do, go ahead and lift your arm up just a little bit, sir. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get around the elbow really comfortably without causing any problems. When you start to get to the bend of the elbow, you want to shear away a little bit so that you don't have a rough edge going into his crease. You shear away a little bit as you're coming into the bend. You shear one more time. And then as you come around to the top of the bend, you shear the other side. And that makes for a nice, comfortable transition around the bend of his elbow and the crease there. And it still allows for double padding around the elbow where the possible injury site is. And as we've done before, we go ahead and work our way up to the top. We'll do an extra piece on the top and an extra piece on the bottom. And then we'll proceed on to the fiberglass. You'll notice that I'm doing a couple extra strips around the patient's elbow, just because I know that's where his injury is. Thank you, sir. And of course the extra bumpers on the top and the bottom so that it doesn't rub on, the fiberglass doesn't rub on him. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the fiberglass. Go ahead and let go. I'm going to hold you, drop your elbow down, and your fingers come straight up like that. I shake off the excess water. I have wet the fiberglass so that it starts to get hard. I use regular room temperature water. I try not to use water that's too warm because it becomes a little bit overheated with the diacyanide chemical that's inside that heats it up anyway. I fold, open your fingers back. I fold so you can see there so it doesn't rub on his thumb. I'll do it one more time so everybody can see. Cut at the same angle as his thumb. Fold it in as you pass through the thumb, and then you fold it out. And that creates a nice little padded barrier there so it doesn't rub on his thumb. That's okay, you can cough, we got our mask on, it's okay. I start working my way down the arm nice and comfortably, nice and slow. It doesn't have to be tight at all. And again, like we did with the cotton, as we start, I overlap halfway every time. You'll notice when we start to get to the crease here, the bend in the elbow, I take the middle of the fiberglass and run it through the bend. So that way he doesn't have a really, really bad ripple effect. I run it around the back of the elbow, and as every time I go through the crease, I use the middle of the tape. So that way it's a nice, smooth crease instead of a forced crease. And then, as we run out, I grab my second roll, and if you wouldn't mind helping me with this hand, if you could hold your fingers for me. Hold your fingers, thank you, sir, and bring your arm up like a bird. Here you go. I know that sounds funny, right? And we'll go ahead and finish it up. And this will be the first layer, the underneath layer, and then we'll go ahead and proceed to the second layer in just a sec. So then what we're going to do here finally is we're going to do the second layer, the color, or excuse me, in this case, the pattern that the patient has chosen. You'll notice that I folded over the edges of the stockinette so that it'll create a nice soft bumper on all the edges for the patient for comfort reasons. And then we do the exact same thing we do with the first layer, the orange layer. We fold it, we make it look nice and neat, make it look like we know what we're doing. And then we'll seal it up. And this young patient will have a nice new tie-dye cast, long arm cast. And just like so, you don't have to put it on overly tight. Lay it over itself halfway every time. And make sure to leave a nice soft lip on the top and on the bottom so that the patient's comfortable and they don't come back complaining that it's making contact with their skin. And we seal it up with a little bit of lotion or a little bit of hand soap or sanitizer, and we're done. Stay right there for me, sir. I like to stop it on the bottom so you don't have to chase that flap. Stay right there, don't move. And we seal it up. Get rid of that. And we are done with a nice new long arm fiberglass cast.